The history of English in 5 minutes. The post-war years.
By 1945, the Labour government won the elections against the Conservative Party.
Prime Minister Clement Attlee made reforms on welfare reform influenced by Churchill's wartime government.
This government had to rebuild the country devastated by the war, create the welfare state, and fight against the injustices of capitalism.
In spite of its failures, the Labour government was successful in its efforts.
We need to take into account that 1930s were years full of poverty and unemployment. That's why by this time the government encouraged the spirit of shared sacrifice and collective effort.
Britain's economy was dire and the country was poor because they had to pay for the war with the 2.5 billion that the US lent them.
By this moment there were worldwide food shortages and Britain didn't have the money to pay for imports. That's why in this moment of history even bread was rationed.
The black market satisfied the desire for small luxuries, from restricted foodstuff to nylon stocking.
Uh, the first years of 1947 were extremely cold months, and they didn't even see the sun for 3 whole months.
Some coal-fired power stations shut down and some other factories closed.
Those shortages remained until 1950.
While London hosted its first post-war Olympic Games, foreign athletes were encouraged to take their own food.
Soldiers coming back from war needed job and health support. In 1945, with the victory of the Labour Party, they tried to implement a socialist commonwealth, nationalizing coal industry, telephone, Bank of England, electricity and gas supply, along with other companies, creating with this a mixed economy. By this time, only upper classes had the benefits of health support, education, pensions, and other benefits. What the Labour Party tried to do with this new policy was to give the benefits to all the population. By this time, regardless the austerity, people had a lot of money in their pockets because there were no goods available in the market. Therefore, they had a lot of money left for leisure and entertainment, having cinema and sports. Every one of three English people were going to these events by that time.
For more than 2 years, it was applied a measure of rationalization of food and energy. This measure was applied with greater intensity than during the time of war. The government started a welfare state in which they gave protection and promotion of a well-being life. They started giving security for misfortunes, and also the health minister start the national health system for the people who didn't have a good medical service. The council in 1948 started building houses, and per year they gave 200,000 of housing for people. Yeah. The people who live in big cities start to move to rural locations.
Sir Stafford Cripps was a British Labour politician. He was responsible for laying the foundation of Britain post-war for the economic prosperity. He believed that austerity was good and he disapproved the luxury and consumerism. In the 1947, the economy improved because of the Marshall Plan. That was an initiative that had the whole Western Europe, in which United States lent them $13 billion for rebuild the regions that were devastated for the Second World. But it wasn't enough because in the 1949, the devaluation of the pound hurt their economic again, and also the economic support that they have done to the Korean War hurt also their economy. Although of that tragedy, the Labour Party offered fund to the population, creating the Festival of Britain that in 1951. It was since May the 3rd until September 30, in which people can enjoy of music and theater. After the post-war, the conservatives reformed some rules that the Labour Party had done in terms of steel, iron, and industry.